Welcome to Feel the Heat, a 5 Reasons Sports Network Miami Heat podcast. Hosted by Allana Tachauer and Michael Christian. This is your one-stop listen for all things Miami Heat culture, past, present, and future, on and off the court.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to episode 24 of Feel the Heat. And you know what I just realized, Michael? 24 is the perfect number to land on because Kobe was a Virgo and your birthday is this week. Happy birthday, Triple Virg.
Yeah, I did it. I made it another year and I didn't die. Pew pew. I got here.
How old are you? 73?
Nope. Still, if I were 73, that'd still be younger than you. But I will be turning 28 this week.
Only a man would answer that honestly, or answer that at all.
What's wrong with sharing my age?
I mean, I just don't want to do that, even though you have people searching for my age since I think it was our first episode.
Okay, I'm done. I'm going to tell everybody.
Everybody
listen.
Me.
Everybody listen to me.
Don't do it, Michael.
Allana is 41 years old. I needed you all to know this.
He's
lying,
is what it is. So I'll allow it.
It's a very deceptive age thing going on here. Okay, it trips me out, right? It's like she's got kind of a Benjamin Button thing going on.
I look good for 41 then. Shit.
I mean, debatable, but
I still get carded. I still get carded, and I think that should say everything. When I'm out or buying liquor at the store.
When you get carded, is it guys that card you or girls that card you?
No, both.
But if you had to say it was more one side than the other?
Girls, I guess.
Oh, really? I thought it would be guys trying to be like, oh, let me pretend that she looks young. That way she'll talk to me more.
No, guys are pretty forward with me. I don't really feel like they need an excuse. Can't you just say I look youthful and call it a day?
You don't live in Florida. I'll leave the youth to Ponce de Leon in the fountain.
You know what? This is very indicative of the fact that we still have nothing to talk about. And in fact, this week's rundown might be the barest of them all. But we're 3 weeks away from the start of everything. Heat Media Days in 2 weeks, and then preseason starts October 4th. Are you dying as much as I am? Are you hyped? Are you counting down the days? What's up?
I am excited for basketball season to start, but I am not dying. Because
you have the Dolphins.
My sports quench is completely satiated right now.
Have you ever had the gum quench? Sorry to interrupt.
The gum
quench gum?
No.
One of my, I was like kind of a player in 5th grade and like bouncing between these two guys. And one of them got me quench gum for Christmas. And I don't think it exists anymore. The face Michael's making right now.
That was the most Allana flex I've ever heard in my entire life.
Not a flex.
I may or may not have been a player in 5th grade.
I was gonna say my boyfriend in 5th grade, but I realized I was kind of like talking to 2 people and like getting gifts from 2 people.
You're in 5th grade. You're not
shout
doing
out to
anything.
Graham and John. You know what I mean? Just shout them out. Graham got me some quench gum.
The only way I would respect Graham is if his name was spelled Gram to be different. Was that how it was spelled? Was it spelled Graham like the weight?
No, of course not. Graham like graham cracker. Yeah.
No respect. Too typical.
So we like John better. John with no H.
Just Jon?
Jonathan, but still with no H.
No respect. John. Your name his name isn't John. It's John.
I really hope nobody from lower, middle, or high school ever listens to this pod now.
I mean, you guys could have better names. That's all I'm saying. And that comes from a guy who has an awful name, right? I mean, my name is used by a bazillion friggin' people.
But then I couldn't call you Mr. Michael. So what fun would that be?
Nobody should ever call me that. At least not until I'm your age.
41 and glowing.
I don't think I'll be glowing at 41. I can tell you that now.
I really hope everyone knows that I am not 41. But you know what? Let's continue on. I don't know how to transition this.
Wait, hold on. You have to say if you were excited about it. Because I was talking about how the Dolphins are quenching my sports thirst.
Of course I'm excited. I'm dying slowly. I don't know what to do with myself without basketball. My whole life revolves around this game to the point where like I'm making plans with people and it doesn't matter what night or like at what time. And I don't know what to do. Some of my friends are like, oh, you're available. And I'm like, I guess it doesn't feel right.
Should I feel sad for you that you're having to hang out with your friends? Because you sound kind of sad about
No,
that.
I mean, I see my friends plenty, but I have to schedule them around games. Whereas now I'm just like, whenever y'all want, I guess I'm here.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a strange problem to have.
There's a lot of strange problems in my life, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say basically all of them.
Yeah, more
Yeah.
or less.
But hey, you know what? We'll talk about it at the end. But I think maybe if you got into football a little bit more, you'd probably have an easier time
We
waiting
will
for the
save
basketball
this for
season.
the end because I am being pulled in all sorts of directions for my fandom. But for now, we'll give you guys some heat talk, which we'll start with the Chris Bosh Hall of Fame speech. Did you watch it? Did you see it after the fact?
I actually did not watch it live. I caught some of it after the fact. I was busy doing something that night, and so I just wasn't able to watch the Hall of Fame stuff. I mean, it's good to see him in the Hall of Fame. I'm excited to see it. It's gonna be petty as hell that I say this, but that's fine. It is what it is. It's unfortunate to me that he had to be inducted the same year as Paul Pierce because they're just such opposite spectrums. Right? Like Paul Pierce makes it into the Hall of Fame and he flips off everyone. Chris Bosh makes it into the Hall of Fame and he wants to give everyone a hug. Right?
But
It's
I
like,
actually kind of like that because the dichotomy there just shows what trash Paul Pierce is and what a class act Bosh is. And also the fact that Ray Allen was there fully for Chris Bosh, like, I don't care what anyone says. He did not care at all about Paul Pierce. He was there for one man and one man alone. I don't know if you saw his Instagram post. He posted a bunch of stuff from that night, and the Paul Pierce post was literally blurry. Like, he did not care. It was like a last minute, like, oh crap, I think I need to post this.
well, it's because I think up until that moment, he was under the same impression that the rest of us were, which is KG, Paul Pierce, Rajon Rondo all hate Ray Allen. I mean, that's what all of us thought.
I think Ray is better off if that were the case. I don't
mean,
think he's missing out on much. Although I am a raging Rondo fan, personally.
Really?
Yes.
I don't get you. You like
the minute
Rondo?
He kicked out his leg on that Bulls bench and said he was stretching his knee. I was like, oh yeah, I mess with you. Like you're a real one.
Okay. So wait, let me get this straight. So Rondo goes and does something obviously dirty.
He was stretching his knee.
No, okay.
I
Rondo goes out and does
sometimes.
something obviously dirty, and you're like, yeah, I mess with that. Other players do it. Specifically, one Patrick Beverly, and yes, he's just a horrible human being.
I didn't say he was a horrible human being. I hate the way he plays.
I feel like they're the same person.
Also, little story about Rondo is when he came here in Chicago, something launched, some gaming, something, I can't remember what it was. He went to Best Buy, and instead of getting a hookup or like even having someone else stand in line for him, he stood there in line with a hood on, trying not to be recognized. And he didn't get the item because he was not like one of the first 50 people. He just turned around and left, like signed some autographs, took a picture with my friend, and that was it. Like, who does that?
A lot of NBA players that even if they got recognized, it wouldn't matter.
No, but my point is he could have easily gotten this console, or I can't remember what it was, but he literally was just like, I'm going to show up here like the rest of the people by myself in line at Best Buy. And then I didn't even get it and I walked away. Do I think he probably ended up with it? Sure, but it shows something.
But I'm sure there's a lot of players that do a lot of nice things.
That's fine. But I'm saying I happen to think that he's a better guy than people give him credit for. I'm not saying he's the only one that would act that way. He then went to Batter and Berries. 5 minutes. We missed each other by 5 minutes. It's a brunch place. When you come to Chicago, I'll take you.
Your entire like reasoning for liking and disliking things is this rubric that makes absolutely no sense.
I know, but how
you will like and dislike someone for the same exact reason.
Absolutely. It's a gut feeling.
And that is so just like bewildering.
Gotta keep you all on your toes.
Also, why do you all say that is another thing. You say y'all a lot, but you're not from the South.
Yeah, I don't know why. I used to say it a lot in like middle school, and then people started commenting on it, and I don't think my parents liked it very much, so I stopped. But for some reason, doing this podcast with you has brought it out of me more and more.
So doing this podcast pushes the Carrie Underwood out of you? Like you're straight up
I
Tennessee.
feel like Midwesterners say it too, though.
I don't know. I don't know any Midwesterners other than you because they don't exist.
Other than me.
I mean, it's this whole middle America. It's like, okay.
I will agree with that, but no, but Chicago's a world of its own.
Right. Chicago's the one place in the Midwest that people know about, right? Like next closest might be St. Louis. And what the hell is St. Louis other than an arch?
Fun fact, I went to a WashU game and that arch was very prominent.
Yeah, good for them. They made it.
How did you get us on this tangent? We're talking about Chris Bosh's speech and all of a sudden we're talking about WashU and the arch.
I think here's how we take it back, right? Paul Pierce is the middle America of the NBA.
How's yeah, sure.
Right? Like it's just there.
Because there's some bad things I could say about the South, but I also like a lot of things about the South. So you're right. Middle America is the best way to put it.
Oh, there's a lot of bad things we can say about the South. Listen, I'm a Floridian. The laundry list is long.
Yeah, you guys are insane there. The headlines I see coming out of Florida, like on an hourly basis this point, like what kind of people are you surrounded by?
Florida lives by any publicity is good publicity mentality, I think, right? So it's like rather be on everyone's list as the worst state than be on nobody's list, right? So I guess.
Yeah, how does that feel?
It's really not that bad because most of those really, really crazy stories, right? Like the really out there ones, right? Like throwing a gator through a drive-through window.
Yeah.
Most of that stuff really happens in those places in Florida that no one from Florida actually recognizes, right? Like you've got Orlando, you've got Miami, you've got Fort Lauderdale, you've got Tampa, all recognizable places. Crazy things happen, sure, but city things, right? Crazy city things. All those really out there Florida man things, yeah, that's usually always everywhere else, except for the drug-related stuff. If it's related
Florida
to drugs, it's Miami.
Has a terrible reputation. A former best friend met an ex-boyfriend of mine once, and she literally, the way she opened the introduction was, "I heard you're from Florida. I'm so sorry." He immediately didn't like her, but I was like, you can't blame her for choosing that opening line.
I mean, I don't get offended when people say stuff like that. I'm just like, I mean, I'm from Florida. I have pride for certain things in Florida. I mean, it is what it is. There's a bunch of crap that happens in Chicago too that I'm sure you're not proud of.
No, I love Chicago through and through.
Through and through?
Except for Mayor Lightfoot. I could do without her.
That is a wacky mayor name. Lightfoot?
She is a wacky lady, let me tell you.
Sounds like a character in a nature movie.
Like she does look like a character and act like one too, yes.
One of those late 90s really pushing environmental friendliness animated films like Mayor Lightfoot. That's what it sounds like.
You're not wrong. I never realized that though.
Do you see this tangent you took us on now?
Let's get back to Chris Bosh.
If you would like to.
Listen, I watched it that night, but I had paused right when he started because I think I went to eat dinner. I don't remember what I was doing. And then I came back. I was in tears probably 2-3 minutes into the speech. I lost it. Like there was no one more deserving than him. And it's not that I expected anything less from his speech, but like he brought everything to the table. Like it was emotional, but it was funny and it was like charismatic, but there was also some like hard fact to it. I don't know. It was perfect to me. I want to go back and rewatch it. I'm so happy for him. I'm glad his family could be there. Obviously Dwyane and LeBron were there too. It felt like the perfect way to close out. And the fact that he gave that ring back to Pat Riley, I was really worried, after he wasn't allowed to come back because he didn't pass the physical. Him and Riley kind of went at it, and I was afraid that would never be salvaged. But I'm so glad to see that that's not the case because he's a Heat lifer through and through.
Yeah, I think for me the big thing with the Chris Bosh stuff too is I don't think there's ever been a Heat player that I've ever felt more sad for than Chris Bosh because of the way everything went down. Even when he and Pat Riley were kind of butting heads over what was happening, I almost always was really on Pat's side just because the way I was viewing it, which is the way I think Pat Riley was viewing it as well, is you don't mess around with your life like that. Right. And I understand Chris Bosh's side of it too. Right. He's thinking, no, it's fine. Like I got this. It won't come back. I want to play. I can contribute. I'm still that guy. But Pat's sitting there thinking, you know what? What if that doesn't happen, right? What if it's that 1 in 1,000 chance, right? Then what with your family and your kids? And there's just more important things. And I think this is Chris Bosh absolutely realizing that. And I'm sure he realized it a long time before. It's just good to see him get recognized, especially for a guy who in any other situation would have put up absolutely bonkers numbers throughout his entire career. And he decided, no, what's most important to me is putting up that championship number and doing what I have to do to get there. And for a guy who went through so much, even during that time, right, having to sacrifice and become the third option, having to step up on nights when Wade and LeBron were out, right? Then he himself going out that year that we finally won the championship against Indiana, right? He had the abdomen issue and everything. He went through a lot on this team. And when it finally came time for him to be the man, for him to be our number one option, and we had, in my opinion, a really solid team that year, it just didn't work out, right? Like fate just wasn't there for us. But at the end of the day, none of what the Heat have in those 4 years is even remotely achieved without Chris Bosh and who he was and how he played in his selflessness. His career with this team is so much more than that one play he had where, you know, rebound to Bosh, back out to Allen. Fantastic play. Great to remember him by. But everything he did from the, you know, buzzer beaters against Portland to carrying this team when they really needed that third option to step up. Chris Bosh is, in my opinion, a Heat lifer. I don't care what he did in Toronto. Toronto can suck it and go complain about Goran Dragic or something. Chris Bosh will forever be a Miami Heat player, and the retiring that number 1 jersey was just beautiful. So seeing him get the recognition and make it to the Hall of Fame is fantastic.
Yeah, and I think for me, the hardest part of the whole thing was he thought he could come back. So if you recall, after, you know, they first diagnosed him and he went through treatment, they thought that was it. So he was, you know, gearing up for his return. Training camp was starting, and then it got hit that he didn't pass. And I think at that moment is really when, you know, speaking for myself, but I think a lot of other people, is when you realize, like, well, damn, like this isn't just a minor setback. This isn't changing the course of a year. This is forever. So, you know, I don't really blame him for fighting as hard as he tried to return. And I also can understand him holding a little bit of a grudge, I think, against the front office for a little bit. You know, that documentary of his came out. That was really hard to watch personally. But when it's all said and done, even though he didn't get to play for as long, you know, as he would have wanted to, I think the impression he left behind and the legacy that is like solidified forever is so much more important, to your point, than, you know, risking his life. So well-deserved, well-earned. I also want to say Tony Kukoc is a gem. He is the reason that I got into basketball, and watching that made me so happy too. First of all, he's aging like a fine wine. That man is a silver fox. His speech was great. I think he really just encapsulated his entire career, and I think it was really great overall. I know everyone is kind of laughing about Ben Wallace looking like an old professor, but that really only added to the night. So I don't know. I needed that. I needed like a little taste of basketball before we returned. So I highly, if you guys haven't seen at least Chris Bosh's, but the rest of the night too, I highly recommend checking it out.
It was, in fact, a good night, and a good night for the Heat. And the Heat actually then went and they've made some moves since our last podcast. They had 3 Exhibit 10 signings. They signed Micah Potter, Javonte Smart, and Drew Smith. I'm pretty sure I'm getting all the names right. What do you think about those 3 players that they signed?
I don't know if I have many thoughts on them. You know, I think they all have their attributes and they all kind of showed glimpses of how they could fit into the system, but I don't think anyone would necessarily move the needle. I think Potter surprised me most, only because I feel like expectations were a little higher on him. And then, you know, maybe he just didn't get enough tick or what have you, but I feel like people were a little bit, the hype didn't match kind of what the situation was in Summer League. But again, obviously he didn't play every game, and that's a very small sample size. So I don't know. I think whoever they end up with is fine, if any of these guys, but it's nice to see that they're giving guys, you know, a chance anyway.
Yeah, I think Potter's definitely the biggest name of the 3. And I think he's a name that's been floating around for a while. especially the moment Dickey signed a two-way deal somewhere else, it then became Garrett and who else? And Potter was actually one that a lot of people were high on. So it makes sense that he signed with the team. Drew Smith is one that kind of caught my eye. If Drew Smith is exactly who I remember he is, I am pretty sure his family was actually at a lot of the games out there at Summer League. And they had a whole like cheering section, and every single time he'd do anything, right? Like he'd, poke the ball away and it would go out of bounds. He'd hustle on defense. He'd knock down a three, whatever it was. Listen, they all were so loud, and it was adorable because I don't know if they're his kids or, kids in his family, whatever it is, but they're really young. You could just hear them yelling really loud.
Okay, I literally have like goosebumps. That is the cutest thing I've ever heard. I love that.
It was super adorable to watch. But the thing with Drew is like, you could see him working hard out there. Like you could tell he's the kind of guy that a lot of his ability in basketball is work ethic, right? A lot of where he is now is the work ethic. Not saying that he's not talented. He does obviously have talent. To make it to that point, you have to have it. But you can tell that's a lot of it is that work ethic, right? That drive, him doing the nitty gritty stuff, right? So it is good to see him sign that Exhibit 10 deal. He is a little bit on the smaller side in terms of height and stature and everything. So that isn't going to be in his favor. But I think he has a chance if this team, especially if they're looking at the point guard position and doing a little bit more with it. So I think of those three names, Drew Smith is the one that really jumps out to me the most, just because, having his family like a couple rows behind me kind of made me watch him a little bit more. It was good to see him.
Just from that alone, I'm all in. I want the best for him. Also, talking about work ethic, that is kind of mostly the battle for cracking into this team, because the rest can be figured out. The rest can, player development, strength training, and what have you. But I think if you don't have that work ethic, you'll never work here. So if he has that going at least, then, obviously I wish him the best. Speaking of work ethic, though, I know you have seen Tyler Herro and what he looks like lately. What are your thoughts? Do you expect big things from him? Does this change anything for you? What was your reaction when you saw this bulked up picture? My
first thoughts is NBA, please send that testing kit, whatever it is. Go check that man.
Hush.
Right? I mean, sure. Wasn't there a picture of Jimmy right before the playoffs, right? And it was like playoff Jimmy, and he was looking jacked as hell. That really played out well in that first round.
The pump is real, and so are Instagram filters, so you can never really know what's going on.
I'm not calling it real or fake. I'm not one to watch a workout video and really sit there and change my expectations based on what happens, because I think if we did that, Ben Simmons would have been a shooter years ago.
Sure, but in terms of just sheer size, I think defensively, this should at least give us a little bit of hope that he's going to be more solid. I also, I said this earlier on Alex Dono's show, but the fact that he is putting his body through more, I think is a good sign, if only for the sheer reason that, he was injured, and that was a good reason, a good deal of the reason why he didn't play as well as he probably could have. So I think the fact that he is taking his body to the next level shows that, he's back from injury, he's healthy, he's ready to go. And I mean, he's still putting in work. His baby is so close to its arrival. Also, we have not mentioned Ricky yet, and I feel like this is weird because we usually do, but I have a Ricky tidbit. Ricky is out here telling people she's having twins. She is not having twins, Ricky J. Mark. She's having one baby, but the baby's coming soon. So the fact that Tyler's putting in work, despite all of that, fatherhood is a big deal. I don't know. I think it speaks volumes of the fact that he wants to be better and he's committing to it.
Yeah, I think this team trusting Tyler Herro, right? This team having him shows that he's going to put in that work. Like you're not here if you're not going to be putting in that work. And I think especially after last season and the way it kind of shook out, I understand expectations for him were probably too high. He failed to reach those expectations. He didn't have a bad year by any means, but I think even by his own standards, he probably wouldn't say he had the year he wanted to. So I fully expected him to come out and work. I just want to see it transition to on the court. I'm glad he's putting in that work, and keep doing it, but I want to see it play out. I want to see it, cause the difference out there when we need him, especially because off the bench, scoring wise, I don't think we have basically any options, right? At least until Victor comes back.
Max Strus.
Max Strus, yes, is a scoring option. I'd be curious to see how much of that is going to transition as well. Again, that was Summer League. I'm not saying he can't do it, but we saw Max Strus and he had games where he would score 15 points and it was like, whoa, Max Strus is a crazy guy. And then he'd have other points where he'd come in, play limited minutes and not really have much of an impact. Right. So
I don't think he had a fair shot though. I do think that, him taking so much leadership in Summer League, I think speaks to the fact that Spo's probably getting ready to use him a little bit more. Obviously we don't know yet. Right. But I do expect better from him, and not even better, but just more utilization.
Oh, for sure. I expect him to average more points than he did the year before. But I think you and I can both say, at least coming off the bench, it's Tyler, right? It's Tyler's game. It's Tyler's time to score. I think he can do it, and I think he can do it well. I don't need him to improve the defense by a vast amount. Just I need to see improvements, and if he can just work on that offensive game, take a bit more control, look more under control when he's doing it, I'll be absolutely fine. Until then, look, I'm glad he's pumping up and he's working out and all this stuff. But to me, that is the bare minimum. And I don't need him to post about it. Right. I don't need to see it. Just go do it. Just go take care of business. Right.
To be fair, most players post something.
Right. Because if they don't, then people start being like, oh, what are they doing? Right. Like, let's just say he wasn't posting
they're normal people. I post workout snaps on a weekly basis. No one cares. I'm just doing it.
No, sure. It's just all I'm saying. For me, I don't need it.
That's fair.
I don't need you to post to prove to me that you're working out, especially because let's be honest. I mean, you could have just worked out for an hour, posted about it, and then dipped, and everyone's like, wow, he's working so hard. Like nobody really knows their full schedule. So I don't need to see that. Just go put in the work. Just put in the work. That's all I care about. And again, if you're on the Miami Heat and you're not putting in the work, you're going to be out of here really soon. So good to see him pumped up. I just want to wait to see it on the court.
You know who's going to come back really soon? Goran.
Oh.
You know why? I'm going to keep pushing.
I thought you were talking about Oladipo.
No. We are now talking about Goran, and I'm pushing this agenda, and I will continue to do so. And today's piece of evidence is his big face coffee hat. It said something like, I paid my 20. I don't remember exactly. Come on. This guy is dripping in Heat gear every time he posts. He will return. It is not goodbye for long.
I'm going to tell you this, and it's funny, and I know we're talking about it again later. You right now sound like all of us Dolphins fans did before the draft. No, hold on. We were reading into everything
I'm not
that
reading
happened.
Into everything. He is showing us his hand, and I am accepting it graciously.
No, but I think my point still stands, right? Like every Instagram post or thing that he has that even remotely could resemble Heat time, you're like, oh, you see, Goran's coming back, right? And all I'm saying is that's exactly what we did. Before we drafted Tua, everything that happened was, oh, you see, he said that, which means he's coming to Miami. Man. I'm
not reading between lines, though. He wore a hat. He knows what he's doing. Goran is a very smart man.
Because he is technically on the Raptors right now, right?
He is correct right now. He has not
they haven't bought him out
Dallas
yet.
Nope.
I mean,
I have seen exactly one report that assures him landing in Dallas, and I don't know how valid that is. So I hope he does. I want him happy. I think him and Luka reuniting is great, but I'm not sure how valid it is and what the likelihood is that it's going to happen soon.
I just think if he goes to Dallas, the chances of him coming back to Miami are incredible.
I think he retires in Miami.
Oh, I think he signs a short contract to retire in Miami.
Well, I think he's getting close to retirement.
Okay, so when you say he'll be back, do you mean he'll be back in playing or he'll be back to retire?
I mean, he will play, but I think he'll play his last year in Miami.
Okay. I mean, possible. I'm not so sure about it, but we'll see how it goes.
You keep doubting, and I will keep singing the praise.
Yes, tinfoil Tachauer.
I don't know what that means, but
you've never heard of like a tinfoil hat?
Like conspiracy?
No, like conspiracy theorists?
No.
I'm pretty sure that's a thing. Maybe I'm getting it wrong, but I'm pretty confident that's a thing. where it's like people wear tinfoil hats because they're afraid that someone's trying to get into their brain.
Oh.
Yeah. Hold on. Tinfoil hat, used in allusion to the belief that wearing a hat made from tinfoil will protect one against government surveillance or mind control by extraterrestrial beings.
Okay. So this is like people with mental illness thinking this.
No, it's just like conspiracy theorists.
I don't think anyone who thinks this is well, but that's a whole nother topic that we should probably stay away from. So then, although Alessandra would greatly appreciate this as a psychiatrist.
So then what you're saying is you're not well.
I'm not well, but not in that way. Let's put it that way.
You got it, tinfoil Tachauer.
I hate that name. Another thing I may hate. Did you see this potential $1 million in-season tournament? What is going on? Why? I don't understand what we're doing.
I'm fine with trying it out.
For what? What's the purpose of it?
$1 million?
No, like, what is the reason behind needing such a thing?
Spark a bit more competition in the middle of the season when it's probably a little lacking.
All of a sudden, we need more competition. It's been fine for however many years. And suddenly this year, I think it's the time. You know what it sounds like to me? Sounds like the league might have taken a little COVID hit and they're trying to get creative. And this is dumb. Just like the play-in.
I mean, you're just a hater of change in the NBA.
No, I will be fine with changes that make sense and
the play-in is fantastic.
The play-in is dumb.
The play-in's great.
Come at me, Adam Silver. I will talk to you about all the reasons why we should never have that again.
Yes, because Adam Silver cares so much about the plight of a tinfoil hat wearer.
I don't like this new persona you've concocted for me at all.
It is what it is.
I'm probably the least paranoid person that I know.
That's what a paranoid person would say.
All right. You know what? Let's just talk about NFL stuff now because we're here.
Hold on. I think the play-in is a great idea. I've said that to you from the beginning.
I agree. I know that. I'm not saying otherwise. It's a dumb idea.
The play-in is great because as a 9 or 10, you miss the playoffs because of one incident, one injury that throws you off a couple games. That's a great opportunity.
My friend.
No, that's a great opportunity for you to try to get in. And number 2, it is set up so that the 7 and 8 seed have it very easy to get in. They have to just not lose twice.
That makes it even more dumb.
How?
Because you're jumping through loophole. I don't like it.
I think it makes
everything is for money. We lost some money during the COVID years. I understand.
I don't think the play-in is for money. I don't think the play-in is for money.
You should edit this part out.
Why?
How can you not think the play-in is for money and viewership?
It increases viewers. It gets you more money, but the amount of money that it actually gets the NBA has to be incredibly incremental. Don't worry, to their total.
Now we have one more tournament because they've lost. Look, they need to make up the difference.
This tournament, I am not super on board with. I'm fine with trying it out just to see how it goes, right? But I don't want them to get like European soccer leagues. Now, everybody that listens to this podcast that likes European soccer leagues, you're going to be very upset at what I say, and that's fine. It's because I'm an American. It is because I'm an American and I like things a little simpler, right? I don't love the fact that over the course of a season over in Europe for a soccer team, right? I'm a Chelsea fan. They'll play one game that's in Premier League, and then they'll play another game that's for Champions League, and then there's another game that's for Europa League. And then eventually you kind of have to give up some of them so you can give your guys rest, and you have to play hard in others. And it's just kind of back and forth. So it's like this whole giant chess thing going on. That's kind of what they're trying to do with this. I don't agree with it completely in terms of the tournament, the midseason tournament. However, I will stand on this. The play-in, fantastic idea. This one, though, I'm down to try it out. I'm down to see how it goes. I want to see what the stakes are. I want to see what happens. But you and I both know this is going to happen. The moment a notable player gets injured in that midseason tournament, it's over.
Oh, but the league doesn't care. They're still making their money.
No, they're going to stop it, and you know it. They're not going to do the next year. Oh, 100%. A notable player goes down. A notable player
they're going to be like, wear
and
and tear. It could have happened anywhere.
No shot.
You need to have less faith in people in general. This is not for any good reason outside of greed.
So Are you one of those people that thinks that the finals is rigged so that it can go more games for money?
No.
You paused.
No, because that's not the same thing at all. I was trying to like find the connection there.
I'm just seeing how thick the tinfoil hat is.
All right, let's just get to football because I know you've been waiting for this moment and I hate that nickname. So we're just going to keep it moving. Here's my thing. I don't really care about football. I enjoy watching it. I watched some on Sunday with some of my best friends. It was a great time.
How'd the Packers do?
Okay, that was one game, but I'm getting to the Packers. The thing is, I don't really care. I should be a Bears fan, but I'm not. The only thing I really can take away from the Bears is I love Jay Cutler's ex-wife. Loved her all my life. Still love her. She's actually my idol if I had to put it to one person outside of Pat Riley. But I digress. I guess I'm a Packers fan because I covered them in 2010 and I like Aaron Rodgers and there was Jordy Nelson and Clay Matthews and Donald Driver and it was a good crew back then, you know? But now I don't know and I don't really care. And now I'm being pulled in multiple directions as to what team I should be rooting for because I feel like I can just stay with the Packers. I don't see why I need to jump ship.
I just think the Packers are a poorly run organization that got lucky that Aaron Rodgers panned out the way he did. Right? They haven't made good football decisions in about a decade. And I don't see where they go moving forward once Aaron Rodgers is gone, which honestly, it seems like he's gone already.
See,
if you watch
this
that
is
first
my
game.
thing. Shouldn't I just stick around until Aaron leaves and then I can choose my next destination? Why am I doing this preventively?
You can do that. That's exactly what Royal is doing because Royal is also a Green Bay Packers fan. But Royal has already picked his next allegiance because he's been forced to do so. His wife, his wife, who is much smarter than he is, honestly, right, forced him and told him the moment Aaron Rodgers is gone, you're becoming a Dolphins fan, and that is the way it is. Great job, Eunice. Love that idea.
All right. Well, I have not picked my next move because here's the thing, right? I have you and the rest of the network, I guess, telling me to be a Dolphins fan. And sure, I'm a Heat fan, so it makes sense. But I got some good information on the Eagles today, including that Hurts is a Leo.
Wow.
I don't know. That is pretty persuasive to me. On top of that, that black jersey that they have works for my aesthetic.
No, listen. You want to pick a team for superficial, non-actual reasons? You can absolutely go do that. No one's going to stop you, right? You want to pick the Eagles?
They're kind of nitty-gritty from what I hear, though, and I like that.
They're kind of nitty-gritty.
It's what I hear.
Listen. The Eagles are not a good team. Okay. The Eagles are, how to say this? They are incredibly fortunate that they play in what is the worst division in football by miles. I mean, people make it into the playoffs from that division with a losing record because they're all that bad. All of them. Now, that's not saying much as a Dolphins fan. Who, I mean, we haven't been good in a very long time.
So I hear.
However, in my opinion, the Dolphins are on an up, a really big up, right? We have an incredibly likable quarterback, unless you work for the national media, in Tua Tagovailoa. We've got a great head coach in Brian
sell
Flores.
Is that he plays the ukulele while injured. Like, I don't know if that does it for me. What does that tell me about him?
Here's what you want. No, here's what you want. You want somebody that's going to shove someone over and then say, whoops, I have a twitch in my arm that forced me to do that. My bad. Right? Like a Rajon Rondo thing? Or is that not a
raging Rondo is what I prefer to call him.
Like, I just don't see what
I don't know. You've portrayed a very wholesome, gentle fella, and that's just not my thing.
That's fine. That's what he is.
Well, so I don't know if I want that. And then
that's not what the head coach is, though.
One of my best friends told me that maybe I should just jump on the Chiefs bandwagon. And I'm like, another team? And then I have another friend who is a diehard Brady fan, and I don't like Brady, But now he's telling me to move with him. And I'm just like, guys.
And go to the Buccaneers for one more season. And then
that one is the least, probably is not going to happen. That one's like fallen off my list.
Do you respect the man named Udonis Haslem?
Very, very much so.
And who's Udonis Haslem a fan of?
The Dolphins.
Okay. Your favorite basketball team plays in what city?
Miami.
And where did the Dolphins play?
Miami.
Okay. Have you ever been to the city of Philadelphia?
I have not.
Do you have any ties to the city of Philadelphia?
I have a shirt that says brotherly love on it that I sleep in sometimes.
Okay. So you have a t-shirt that may or may not be from Philadelphia. Do you think you'd like the city of Philadelphia if you lived there?
Probably not.
If you had to pick a city to live in between Philadelphia and Miami, which one would you go with?
Miami, but this has nothing to do with the team itself.
Oh, it has everything to do with the team itself.
I feel like we should do a live stream of different fan bases trying to convince me, and I pick at the end of it. I feel like that should be a thing.
People are going to have better reasons. I've never tried to convince somebody to become a Dolphins fan. I am the kind of fan that thinks you are a fan of where you come from. I was born and raised in Miami. I'm a Dolphins fan through and through.
I'm not a Bulls fan. I'm not a Bears fan.
If there's no team in your city, then you can pick someone else. Right. But I'm a believer in that. So to me, your options are the Bears or the Dolphins to try to keep it at least slightly together with the Heat and the Dolphins. But now you're going to be a fan of the Heat, the Eagles, the Lakers. Disgusting. I mean, that's really it because you don't care about any other sports. It's not like any of your college teams are going to be any good. So
I don't like collegiate sports.
I mean,
even though I've worked in there for 10 years.
The head coach for the Miami Dolphins ran onto the field and almost got into a fight with another player. So there's that.
I like that.
You want a little bit of nitty gritty? There's that, right? Like he straight up ran at the dude and took off his mask to yell at him because he was that pissed. So, and that
I think I need to give myself like a deadline here. Maybe when Rodgers leaves, maybe that's my deadline. Right now, I'm just like pulling for the Packers still. And
why not follow? Like you respect Royal, right? You like and respect Royal.
I
You
do
some shows with him.
Absolutely.
Royal was also a Packers fan, and now Royal is jumping to the Dolphins. Seems like a very easy switch, easy connection.
There do seem to be a handful of network members, though, that are Eagles fans.
Yeah, nobody cares, though. They could, but here's the thing, right? None of them live in Philadelphia. Nobody wants to live in Philadelphia.
It's not about the city, though. It's about the organization.
No, it's about the city.
I don't know. Listen, Team Leo is kind of winning right now. The black jerseys.
I'm now gonna find every team in the NFL that has a quarterback who's a Leo.
Okay, go for it.
And then that's how you're picking. Is that how you're picking a team?
Well, we know that Tua is a Pisces,
which works. He's a Pisces, which is fish in Latin, I think. And
Aaron Rodgers is a Sagittarius, which is also a fire sign. So I'm just saying, clearly I have a type of quarterback.
Yeah, but Aaron Rodgers and Jalen Hurts are nothing alike.
They're both fire signs, so they're somewhat alike.
But they are nothing alike.
There is a commonality through their element of fire.
Okay, I want you to walk up to any football fan and be like Aaron Rodgers and Jalen Hurts. Aren't they
have
the
to
same?
know them personally. You don't know these people. I'm saying like off the court as human beings, off the court, off the field as human beings.
Your criteria makes no sense. You know what? No. You know what? I take it back. I'm going to take everything back. I don't want you to be a Dolphins fan. I don't want it.
Michael threatened me earlier today and said that if I was not a Dolphins fan, he would not be on this pod. So it's good that we backtracked.
I considered it. I did.
That's hurtful.
No, I'm taking it back. No, I'm taking it back. Be a fan of anyone except for the Miami Dolphins. We don't want you, okay? Because we have hold on. Because we have stuck through the worst of situations. I'm talking about my entire life has been nothing but losing. And we are turning a corner, in my opinion, and I think we're going to get there soon. And you know what's the last thing we want? Is people just jumping on, being like, I was here the whole time.
But no, I would never say that.
You just got here. You don't get it. You didn't stick through all that crap with us. So you know what? Enjoy your time with the Eagles. Enjoy your time winning a division at, what is it now, 8-9, because the division is terrible. I know Manny if he listens to this episode, will eventually come back and be like, oh, well, we won a Super Bowl in the last few years. You got really.
I've heard that too. And I actually remember the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And then the city rioted, but it has nothing to do with the city. I just, you know what? It's not me, right? Like Miami was a championship. We all go out in pots and pans. Other cities win, they freaking riot. We don't want you. Enjoy the Eagles. Have a great season. Good luck with Leo Hurts, right? Tinfoil Tachauer. The Eagles are yours.
Good night, y'all.
Thanks for listening to Feel the Heat. Can't get enough of your hosts? Follow Allana at Allana Tachauer, Tachauer, and Michael at Michael5RSN on Twitter and Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe.